It's been an interesting day. So it's time for some past life readings. Yeah. I have a few people on my list already. I'm not going to do a ton because I'm a little worn out from last night, but I do have, let me make sure my tickets are up and live. I'm streaming on Facebook. I'm streaming on TikTok. So if you guys find out that TikTok is being a jerk to you, then you can totally go on YouTube or Facebook. Or if you miss yours, YouTube or Facebook. So my son's dog is going to bark because I don't know why. He's just been a barky little dog. So I've got a few readings all ready to go here. Excuse my hair today. It's just doing what it wants. Like it kind of has a life of its own at this point. And I'm just letting it be what it is. It's all right. So this is what it is, you see? So as you guys know, or maybe you don't know, if you saw my video that I did about my experience last night, it was a little interesting. We just got a big candle order in right before I got on this live. And I happened to find something else that was left in my house. So there's that. I'm just saying. More videos to come. All right. I can't help but laugh. I literally cannot help but laugh. Let me turn my sound off. I apologize there. Is this what it is? Oh, I'm absolutely going to have fun with it, Kathy. So this right here is for Jennifer Forch. So when I'm doing past life readings on here, guys, this is just the one that's affecting you the most right now. My deck got turned halfway upside down. This is affecting you the most right now. And I'll try to be as in-depth as I can with it. I'm just letting you know. Make sure I'm holding my legs right. So yeah, what's interesting is I have another video of some fuckery that I'll be releasing today. Not even for this one, for something else. Wow, Jennifer, I don't know if you saw that, but you had all those things coming out. So I'm just saying you don't piss a practitioner off and then leave things at their house. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right, Miss Jennifer, you ready? There are tickets available on my website. If you guys would like one, I'm not doing too many today. So if you want one, you better go grab it now. I think I only have about 20 that I'm going to do today. Really, actually, I think it's like 15 or so. But yeah, I only have about 15 or so that I'm going to do. So if you guys want a ticket, you better get it quick. So if you guys have never watched me do past life readings, if you've never watched me on a live do them or anything like that, I am super connected with my cards. That's where a lot of my divination skills lie. I have specific decks that I use for past life readings. Hi, my two Danes. It has been a minute. All right. Hello in Sweden. So, Miss Jennifer, there's some duality here. I see why this is affecting you so bad, because the overwhelming theme of this is feeling alone on your path and not being sure what you're seeking. It's like knowing and then not knowing, and then knowing and then not knowing. I don't know if I'm sure that made sense to you. So this one right here is, I would place this one back probably in the early 1200s, late 1100s. Because a lot of the imagery here is movement and travel out of necessity. It's not out of I want to, or I, literally not for pleasure. It's not having a home and having to constantly keep moving. It's also something that started from a very young age, and this feeling of aloneness started from a very young age. So I have a feeling that you've probably had this feeling this life a lot, where even when you're around a whole group of people, you're around family, whatever, you still feel like they're here and you're here. Like you have this issue with feeling completely disconnected and alone. Um, Now, I don't think it's continually. I think it just pops up randomly in your life here and there. But this being alone, this traveling started. I have the feeling that you traveled with your parents, and this is in Europe. So I don't want to pinpoint this in any specific place because there are feelings, and I say feelings like this in air quotes because that's the only kind of thing I can explain it. There are feelings of Italian and Spanish and Portuguese here. So, but all along that Mediterranean lip and up the coast. This is where your parents moved and where you moved continually. Like you guys never stayed somewhere more than maybe 3 or 4 days at a time. And that was a long time to stay somewhere. It was continual moving. And so that part right there is serious because it affects you in the fact that you want to have roots and you want to have a place that's yours that is always going to be yours. You can always go back to. You're safe there. It's almost like you never really had a safe place to be. But at the same time, your soul craves that movement. Your soul craves that movement. So it's like you love to travel and you want to travel, but as soon as you get there, you want to go home. You're like, okay, I'm here now. I want to go home. So you fight with yourself a lot with that. The thing is I'm like kind of looking through this. So guys, I've been doing past life readings for a long time. And when I do them, when I connect with these cards, it's similar to a mediumship reading in that I see, feel, hear, smell things. Sounds crazy, but it's almost like a mini movie. So I have to go through there and pick out the things that stand out. With this, I get the feeling that from the time you were 11 or 12, you were on your own. I'm not sure what happens there, but it's just like suddenly you are alone. And so it's just movement from there. Movement, and alone, continually alone. And in this life, you were a girl and you were a little smaller stature. You tried to hide the fact that you were a girl. You tried to be as masculine as possible because a girl traveling alone is not a good thing in those times. You covered the majority of yourself from head to toe. And you got to the point where you got this reputation where people were a little afraid of you. You never allowed people to get close to you. You have in this life a problem with that too, and that it's very hard for you to let people all the way in, and you have some trust issues too because of this. I'm not sure what happened to split you from your parents, but you have some major trust issues. So you are this person. This affects you now really hardcore because you now know that every little thing you do has to have intention behind it. You have to act intentionally. When you just act willy-nilly and you're like, yeah, that sounds good, let's do this, it doesn't work out. It literally blows up in your face. And so this is affecting you really hardcore right now in a multitude of ways. A, you feel like you're on your journey alone, even when you have people around you. B, like literally the council card is upside down. You almost feel like, well, you do feel like you're going to have to self-teach your things. Like there are people you can learn from. There are mentors, there are videos, there are books, there are all these things. But at the same time, you're like, this is going to have to be self-taught. There's a lot of things about meditation in here. So you're going to be able to tune into this life through meditation. One of your favorite places in this life was it's right on the border of Italy and Spain. It's like right there. It's Italian and it's on the coast. And there's this spot overlooking a cliff. or on a cliff that kind of overlooks part of the beach. The water's pretty far off, so it's not like the water is directly below you, but it kind of comes up a little bit, and this view is gorgeous, but there's trees all around. And the only place that you can see the water from is this one little outcropping that's maybe about 5 feet wide. And that was like your place. So anytime you went through there, that place was like mapped in here. And anytime you went through there, you stopped there and you would spend a few hours sitting there or resting there or whatever, because it was very protected at the edge of these trees. If you go to that place when you're meditating, you're going to unlock a lot of the things you learned in this life, because you learned some amazing things in these travels in this life. And I think that they're there. You feel like they're just like right there, like right on the tip of your tongue, but you can't get them out. Meditation is going to be the key to doing that. And traveling to that place is going to be the key to doing that. And what's funny, every time I talk about that place, like I can actually smell the grass. I can hear the waves. It's almost like when the wind would come in really hard. You can smell the sea, and it's fantastic. But the 2 cards here at the end talk about the seeker and your fate. You have something specific in this life you're in right now that you have to finish from that life. It's something that you're seeking. And I wish I could tell you what that was. It's something very profound about yourself, about your soul. I think that you were probably on the verge of learning it in this life, and something happened. It got cut short, because I don't see you living past about 24, 25 in this life. And I don't go into too much of that detail wise on here. Sorry, the mailman's here, so my dogs are going to bark. But you seeking this has to happen. You seeking this has to happen. It's fated to happen. It's going to happen in this life, whether you're ready for it or not. You're going to have to come to that realization and find that thing. And what's funny is when I say thing, it's something inside you. Docky, come here, buddy. It's something inside you, but at the same time, it's almost like forbidden knowledge. I have a feeling that you had some interesting things that you came across, you found, you stole on these travels that you didn't understand then. Like when you were looking at them, studying them, etc. You didn't understand them then, but they're still in there. So I would look into some old illuminated manuscripts, especially those written in 11th and 12th century Italian. The cool thing about those is you're going to easily find them in English translations now. But I would absolutely be looking at some illuminated manuscripts. For some reason, there's also something I see about this long. It's not a box, but it's not a dagger either, but it's almost like carved stone. It's green. I don't know if it is carved stone, but it's green, like a deep, deep emerald green color. And it's very ornately carved. So like I said, I don't know what that is, but those 2 things are apparently important because I keep seeing them over and over and over. And with the illuminated manuscripts, one of the ones, the pages that was the most profound, you open the book and there's like in the cover, whatever, with the main picture. It's the 3rd page down, and on this side of the page, it's on the right side, but over here on the right side, it's all blue, like a deep, deep, bright blue with gold, and it almost looks like an angel standing right there. So I'm not sure what that is, but I want to make sure I described it for you because it's very, very vivid. Whatever's on that page was important to you because you were obsessed with that picture in particular. I get the feeling that you imported things back and forth, and I say imported in air quotes. Yeah. But this one affects you super deep right now, love. Super, super deep right now because you're seeking whatever that knowledge was that you couldn't quite wrap your head around then. You can now. So you're seeking that hardcore right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if you catch yourself falling down rabbit holes and end up in some areas that revolve around what I was just saying, and 2 or 3 hours go by and you're like, oh shit, I have to get up in like 2 hours, or I would not be surprised to know that at all. So I hope that helped. I hope that helped. These are always interesting readings, and they're always a little profound, I guess, deeper. So like I said, if you guys want to sign up, you might do it now because I'm not doing a ton of these today. They do take a lot out of me, and it was an interesting evening. All right, Miss Susan, I'm waiting for this to refresh. I caught your name right before it started to refresh. I don't know what it's doing. Gotta love it. This is for Miss Susan. So if you guys sign up and you miss it or something happens, do know that I am streaming on YouTube and Facebook right now. So this is Susan. Susan C is all I saw before it went south. I don't know what my computer's doing now. Susan, I can't pronounce your last name. Coltier, I think is what it was. So if you guys go to my link here, there is a link that says Cloutier. There we go. There's a link that says sign up for one of Bodhi's lives. And I will tell you, my list is almost full. I just refreshed it. It is almost full. Hey, Docky. I don't know what's up with the energy. I don't know what's up with the energy lately, but my son's dog has been super, super, super neurotic. Yeah, super neurotic. I'm not sure what's up. So. Trying to make sure. I'm trying to see how many tickets I have available, how many I have left. I think that they're all gone. Because I'm only going to read for a couple of hours, just because I have a ton of stuff I have to do today. All right. So Miss Susan, you ready? Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people that their dogs have been acting a little crazy. I know that we have some solar flares hitting us. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, like energetically. I know the weather here is stupid, so things like that. So yeah. All right, Miss Susan. So this one's affecting you in a very deep way, in that you're playing the mediator in this life for so much, and you just have drama around you continually. And it's like, no matter what happens, whenever you get away from the drama, it literally rotates right back around you. Rotates right back around you. This life is affecting you really hardcore right now. This one is actually, I would probably put it the life right before this one. This one is mid 1800s. Excuse my hair today. I don't know what the fuck it's doing. This one is mid 1800s. Docky, honey, stop. It's mid 1800s. So in this one, you were actually born a man. When I say mid 1800s, I'm actually gonna pinpoint you being born about 1840, 1841. So sometimes I'm able to get like a lot, and that's kind of what I'm getting with this one. So I'm trying to sort through and try to give you solid information. Yes, I am streaming on YouTube right now and Facebook, so you guys are welcome to go and watch them later if you miss yours. Being born then, it's like the very northern edge of Virginia, the very northern edge, almost smack dab in the middle of the state, right up on the border. So I was hoping I could pull a name for you, but it's not. It might. I can't guarantee. Sometimes, especially if they're here recent lives, sometimes I can pull a name where you guys can go look and find yourself, but not always. So you were born a man here. You were also a very, very large man. And I mean, like the size of a barn, kind of large, massive shoulders, very tall. Like you stood out above around everybody. And you learned very, very quickly. You had a decent childhood, like mom, dad, brothers, sisters, etc. You had a pretty normal, decent childhood for then. You guys did live on the outskirts of town. So you had, you didn't live in town. So you had a lot of chores, you had a lot of work. But it did get to the point that when you go into town, people immediately recognized you because of your size. Because of that, people always wanted to pick fights with you. They always wanted to have you do things for them. They wanted to hire you for odd jobs, like all of the things. So you got to where you didn't trust people. You didn't want to go into town because you just wanted to do what you needed to do and go home. There is something here with you leaving, with you literally walking away one day and not ever returning. It has nothing to do with a family dynamic or things like that. There is something within you in this life that you literally walked away from everything. Like no one really knew in your family what happened to you, that kind of walking away. You felt this huge need to be alone. You felt this huge need to be alone in this life. Like you just had no time for anybody. And this was, I would say, probably about 4 years before the Civil War started up that you left. You headed north and then way west. You end up, I would say probably Idaho, Wyoming area. I don't understand, and I'm trying to go back and pull and see what it is that caused you to leave, but I can't. You walked away from what you were supposed to accomplish in that life. That protector, that mediator, that always being their person. Does that make sense? So in this life, this is why it's affecting you hardcore right now, because some of the things that you walked away from and some of the people that you walked away from here, their souls are kind of revolving back around you. They're revolving back around you. And so in revolving back around you, you have all of this drama that you should have dealt with then that's coming up now. So one of the things I will say here, you kind of were born outside your time. I think that when you were born in this life here, your soul was already where it is now, and it couldn't handle it. Because like I said, I don't think that there's not anything violent. There's not anything mean. There's not anything specific. It's just that it's almost like having sensory overload with everything around you, where you were born and where you grew up. You had to leave. You changed a lot of people's fates by leaving. So in this life, they're rotating around you so you can change them now. So this is a whole slew of karmic bonds and of soul bonds that you're fixing now. So it sucks, but you're going to have to do two things. One is to deal with all of this drama and stuff around you and help the people that you need to help. And two, it's stay slightly above all the drama. Stay slightly above it, because you are the guide, you are the protector, you are the one that is helping them navigate through this drama. You're always going to have the right thing to say. You're always going to have the right thing to do. You're always going to know the right advice for the people in this. But keep yourself here. Keep yourself here. And I would say that you probably have another 5 or 6 years of this, because you had a lot of people that their fate was shifted when you left. So you have a lot, like you've been dealing with this your whole life. So even as a kid, you would have friends that all the drama would start up. And even if you were younger than them, you would be the mediator. You would be the one to guys, why don't you just do this and this? And so you've had this revolve around you your whole life. So I'm sorry that you still have a little bit of it left, but the good thing is you only have a little bit of it left. You only have about 5 or 6 years of it left. And after that 5 or 6 years, it's like relaxation for your soul, because you are accomplishing, you have accomplished, and you are accomplishing a shitload of these karmic bonds of nullifying them. So you only have a little bit left. You only have a little bit left. You're at the end. You're at the end phase. So just know that. Just trust your gut on what you need to say, do, etc., and keep yourself above the fray a little bit. So I will say in this one, because I don't know why it's important for me to tell you this, but you never had a family, you never have children. So I don't know if those things are important to you now, if you have kids and so on, but you didn't have those things then. So yeah. Just switch jobs. Good for you. I hope that you have one that's much more relaxing, much more easy on your brain, I guess, if that makes sense. So I'm curious about the kid and the family. Oh my gosh. Do you really? I was like, I don't know why this is important that I have to say this, but I mean, I felt that it was affecting you right now. That's literally fantastic. That's fantastic. So they hear April back there, and yeah, I tried to. I actually was going to auction my son's dog off last night, and people were trying to take him. I love that. I love that you are taking on the responsibility of caring for so many kids that don't have anybody else. That's just fantastic. And that's why I was like, I don't know why I need to say this, but I need to say it because it was important. So the auction went fantastic, guys. If you guys want to bid on some things, there are still some things going on my LinkedIn, on my profile. There is a link to a spiritual auction. I have some stones. I have some of my personal jewelry. I have all kinds of goodies on there. Almost everything on there is from my personal collection, things that I have bought and gathered along the way. So if you guys want to go and look, there you go. There you go. All right, ready? So Travis, this one's for you, love. Ooh. So here's what's interesting about this one. So, Shiri, I truly appreciate your opinions, love. But I did remove her from my live, and here's why. I do know what a Bodhi is. I do know what a Sava is. I do know. I have researched. I do walk a Buddhist path. That offended me. Not much offends me, but that offended me because I thought very long and hard before I chose this. I thought very long and hard before I chose this name, and I actually felt like I would never live up to that name. But that's partially why I chose it. A Bodhisattva is someone who gives up their enlightenment for the enlightenment of others. They give up their own path. They give up their own enlightenment to help other people find theirs. And that's what I do on a daily basis. And my mods can tell you, I work 65 and 80 hours a week. They get on to me because I do too much for free. I help. I am constantly on my phone. I'm constantly on my computer, and I'm constantly talking to people and helping them. I give up most of my own life, my free time. I don't have free time. I work. So that offended me to my core, and she was removed by me from my page. So There you go. There you go. Someone to come in and tell me that I am doing that name justice or that I don't even know what it means. Sweet pea, I hope that you find what you're looking for. It won't be here. So back to Travis. Back to Travis. Travis, this one is so interesting in that everything here is duality. Everything here is duality. Two cards, two cards, two cards. The only card that's one is this one anchor card right here. And I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as I saw the dual cards, bam, 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 I knew exactly why this is affecting you hardcore. It's affecting you hardcore because you are technically two people. You are two parts of the same soul. Even though it's your soul, it's like you're two people. You're a twin. And you're not embracing the two of those together. Does that make sense? You're not embracing the twin parts of yourself, the two parts of you. When you embrace them, everything is harmonious. Everything is like, literally everything is abundance when you embrace those two parts. It's when they get out of balance. It's when you get out of alignment with those two parts that it's like, like you feel like you're in a taffy puller and nothing sits right. So this one is a very, very old life. And I have a feeling that this is something you struggle with through every damn life. You struggle with it because this would be hard for anyone. This would be hard for anyone. This one's old enough that I'm not even sure I can put a good date on it. I'm going to say 900 BC, that far. This is like one of your earlier lives here on Earth. Bear, nothing in there's for you, love. I have a bag sitting over here with some tea in it, and Bear decided he needed to see what was in there. All right, so I always love when I tune into your energy, Travis, because I start getting hot and sweaty because you just are that energy powerhouse that you're just an energy well, and it is what it is. So with this one, you need me? Oh, no. You were born in a very interesting body. Let me say it that way. Because here, I'm not sure childhood wise. That's what I'm trying to poke right now and look. There's a lot of childhood symbols here and a lot of maternal symbols here that you did not get to be a child. You did not get to enjoy any of that. You did not get to do childlike things. There's something unique with you in this life because of the way you looked. I also get the feeling that you were much taller than everybody else. Not like big, broad, just lanky, tall and lanky. You end up being a eunuch in this life. So at a very young age. So you never had any type of personal identity in who you were. Does that make sense? And I think that you still kind of struggle with that a little bit now because I kind of know you as a person, I know that you are tapped into your feminine side and I know you're tapped into your masculine side. And I have a feeling that when you allow it to, you can just slide back and forth how you need to. You also, the very first two cards here talk about harmony and homestead. They talk about like tons of communication. So the one thing about this life is that you did live a very long life. You did live a very long life, mainly in temples. You never really got to see the outside world. I'm going to put this somewhere in the Middle East because of the imagery I'm seeing. I don't think that it's Egypt. Okay. I don't think that it's I don't think that it's Egypt. I just don't. The temples that I see, because there's two, do not look Egyptian. They are white. They are kind of marbly, but not quite. So I don't know if that would be limestone. I don't know what it is. We're going to blame Penny on that one because Penny tried to start that call. I'm just letting you know. I have a Bodhi Wrangler chat, so that's Penny's fault. But I feel like the temples are important, and I don't know why. So I'm just going to tell you. But the temples are important for some reason. There's 2 of them, and they're about 30 miles apart. You spend most of your life in one and the rest of your life in the other. So I will let you know that when you move to this other one, when you move to this other temple, is when there's a huge shift. It's almost like you hit this unique enlightenment when you move to this other temple. So this is what you're seeking now in life. This is what you're seeking right now, is this enlightenment, because you know it's there. You know it's there. And again, the temples pop up. They're important. They're important because that's where this limitless possibility lies. If you can find this temple, and it's literally, there's 4 huge pillars in the front. They almost have, they're not carved, like they're smooth. They do not have any writings or any carvings on them. They're smooth, 4 smooth pillars. All I can see inside behind the steps, it's dark, but the building is white. The temple is white, limestone or marble, because it does have some gray in it. You've got to find that potential, because that's where all your resources are being pulled right now. Part of how to find whatever this possibility is, whatever you found in that temple, was being able to release all of these pent up things that you had from when you were a kid, from the things that you didn't get to accomplish, but realizing how much you have accomplished in this life and withdrawing from all of that, acknowledging it, letting it go, and withdrawing from it. That's what led you to this. And that's what you're looking for right now. That's what you're looking for right now. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps. And Bear is making sure y'all know that he has to eat dog food. I just want you to know I'm a terrible dog mom, that he has to eat dog food. He does this every now and then. We were 5 and had McDonald's, and they did get a couple bites of fries and nuggets. Don't think they didn't, but he's getting mouthfuls of food now because I quit feeding him said nuggets and sitting right under me to eat and crunch loudly. So he knows. He's making sure that I know he has to eat dog food. I love him to pieces. I really do. He's such an ass sometimes. So, all right, Miss Susan Arenas, how are you? I gotta get on this, huh? Thank you guys. Y'all are so sweet. Bear is the labyrinth doggy. Would you guys like to see the labyrinth doggy? Bear. Where's Bear? Come here, Bear. Come here. Come on. Come here. Y'all cannot tell me he does not look like Sir Digimus. Bear, look here. Right here. Yeah. Does he not look like Sir Digimus from the Labyrinth? See? Especially when he does like that. Yeah. That's the Bear. Yeah, I know you want your chest scratched. But if he had looked like this when we got him, he would have been named Digimus. He is the sweetest dog. He is the sweetest dog. So yeah, that is Bear. So when you hear me talking about Bear, that's him. He is a rescue, and he is one of the sweetest dogs ever. But once you pet him, you're screwed. Like, you're going to pet him the rest of the day or night or whatever. All right, Miss Susan, you ready? Ooh, I keep seeing trains. Why do I keep seeing trains? Okay. You have so much unfinished business. You have so much unfinished business. Okay. Um, Susan, this right here is your life right before this one. Like, look, literally, completion is upside down. You have so much, whew, so much unfinished business. This is your life right before this one. And I would put you born right at the very, very end of the 1800s, like 1888, 1889. 1889 sounds righter. Let's say it that way. It sounds more correct. But you were raised in a super religious family here. Super, super. You followed the word of the Bible, period, here. Um, there's a lot to do with trains and your father. So I get that he worked on the railroads. You guys moved with him and he worked on the railroads. Um, he was a very, very strong guide for you, a super, super strong guide for you in this life. He wasn't very loving because he was very hardcore and very matter of fact, like, um, so this is through Kansas. Mainly Kansas is where you lived. Starts in Missouri, moves through Kansas, moves over into Colorado a little bit, but the most of this life is in Kansas. You really never got away from the railroad aspect, because even after your father passes away, you start to do what he did for a living. He just started taking you to work and you started working. I would say about the time you're 13 or 14. So you didn't get any enlightenment in this life before the one you're in right now. But the thing is, you learned how to meditate in that life and you don't even realize it. You working on railroads, on laying down tracks, on hammering those things in specifically. That's your meditation. You need to be doing something with your hands, something automatic that your brain just does for you to be able to disconnect and meditate. And I think that you know that, but you don't know it. I don't know how to explain that. It's like maybe you're starting to realize it. I don't know. But you have to be doing something. Like, you literally learned to meditate in this life, but you didn't get to do the things that you probably should have done. It's like your soul got comfortable in that role, in the same. And so you didn't stop. So this one, you almost mirrored your dad's life. Railroad family, railroad, passed away. Like, it just, you see what I'm saying? Like, you almost mirrored it. Now, you did have a very hard life, very physical life. I would put you passing away in the late 50s, in the late 1950s. So you only lived maybe about 58, 59. Toward the end of your life, you did kind of what you're doing now in a way. You realized that there was something you had missed and you started kind of withdraw. It's affecting you real hardcore right now, that withdrawing, because you also have the Sage card here. There's a lot of amazing wisdom that you actually learned in this life. You just don't realize it was there. It was more of speaking to spirit, speaking to nature, speaking to whatever. You can do that with ease in this life. So part of what has to happen right now is that you need to take a step back. You need to take a step back from where you thought you were going and pay attention to the things you know. And I put that in air quotes because this is clairsentience. This is not like all of the knowledge you've amassed. This is total clairsentience here. Because you have a lot of amazing gifts and abilities. You had them in this life, and since you didn't use them, it's like they just shifted to here. They shifted to here. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps you find what it is you need to find, but you definitely need to disconnect. You need to disconnect and take a step back. All right, Miss Morgan, you ready? So the holographic deck I'm using there is Threads of Fate. It is their Oracle deck. It is their, I want to say the Ascendant edition, and I just dropped a whole bunch of them in the floor. On Doc, who now is looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm trying to gather them up. But this is one of my favorite decks to use, especially for anything. It fits well with my past life readings. It fits well with anything else I do. So yeah. You are welcome, love. It's a wonderful deck. So if you guys don't have it, I highly, highly recommend it. It is Threads of Fate. There you go. Filey's got you. Filey sent it to me as a gift. And it is by far one of my favorite decks. Whoa. Okay. All right then. And they're going to be super jumpy for you, Morgan. Of course. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. All right. Ooh. Morgan, this one's affecting you really bad, and that you're warring with yourself. You're warring with the part of you that is logical and truthful and like knuckle down, go, 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 go. And then this crazy wild part. This crazy wild part. Thank you for the corny butt, sasshole. So, Miss Morgan. Okay, so let me say this. This is your life directly before this, and it was not a long life. I would put you born in early 1947, maybe late 1946, winter. But no, it's 47. Because as soon as I said 46, it was like, that's not right. So a lot of times when we're born into a life that we choose as one of our shorter lives, we know that. If you guys have ever been around a child that has childhood cancer, that knows they're not going to live very long, even before they're diagnosed, it's like they are old. They're old. They remember a lot more than they let on. They know things and stuff. Because when you choose that life, because everybody has to choose those lives, Docky. When you choose those lives, you get to keep a lot of your innate knowledge. So I would say you maybe live to be 7 or 8 here. 7 is very important in this life, and I have a feeling it's very important to you now. And this, Docky, honey, this has to do with the long sickness. So I don't know if it is cancer, was cancer, etc. But you didn't live to see 1960. Okay. So you were a very, very serious child. You were a very serious child. So the life you're in right now, you still have that feel. Does that make sense? You still have that super serious, super logical, I know so many things that I can't explain how I know them. But then you also have this part of you now that, like, I would bet you were a super crazy child. Like, you would do anything. If someone said, let's do this, or I dare you. In fact, I have a feeling if anybody ever said, I dare you, or you won't do it, you were out the door. Like, you were going to do it right then. Because you technically were trying to live two childhoods in this life. So you have a problem grounding yourself, but at the same time, you're super connected to spirit. So it makes it easy for you to be super connected to spirit. So you literally fight with yourself so much. You want to do all these things, but you can't. You can shift back and forth. You can shift back and forth from that. Ooh, I didn't mean to turn myself. You got in so much trouble. You can shift back and forth like a light switch between this super serious, your soul is like 9 million years old, I know all the things, to 5. Like, so here's the thing. Part of what you need to do in this life is embrace. You used to embrace it. You need to re-embrace that wildling part of you, because this is the life that you're able to unify those two aspects of your soul. Don't stress too much about grounding yourself in your soul right now. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Work on grounding yourself just in general, physically, but grounding your soul to a specific thing, location, job, etc. Don't stress about that, because this is not the life for that. This is the life for you to be connected to spirit and remember all the things. But right now, if you embrace that inner child part, that wildling part, you absolutely have the possibility in this life to merge those two together. So there you go. And I'm just going to say your name in that last life, it started with a W. It's weird. It almost sounds like William, or it's almost a cross between William and Walter. It's weird. I hear both names at the same time overlapped. So I don't know what that means, but there you go. All right. Miss Wendy Harling, I'm throwing your cards on the floor too, apparently. Oh, I just have the date wrong. I'll go in and change it. When I look at my calendar over there, sometimes my old eyes go, what? So I'll change it. Yeah, it's just a typo on my part. It could be. It could be. Hi, Chicago Coco. How are you? Yeah, I make typos a lot when it comes to dates. My brain goes, no, it's this date. But yeah. So the oddities is the 18th. Yes. For some reason, my brain put the 19th. I will change it, because we will be headed home on the 19th. All right. So this is for Miss Wendy. Let me get this down where I can see what I'm doing. So this is going to sound funny when I say this, because you're going to go, wait, what? This life here that you're in right now, it's almost like a timeout. It's for you to learn boundaries and for you to replenish your soul. Everybody in life, especially human lives, have to go through shit. We all do. But this life right here for you is a time to replenish, recharge. So the life that I'm looking at right here is from the it's weird. I see 15 and 16 at the same time. I'm going to pinpoint this in the early 1600s. Because when I start to feel 15, it's not right, but I see them at the same time. So what's interesting about this life is, even though this is Europe, this is very, very far Eastern Europe. And with the far Eastern Europe, it's almost a tribal feel. I don't know how else to explain it. It's not, but it is. Does that make sense? It's not, but it is. But in that life there, you're born male in that life. Even though it's a tribal life, but not, you guys did interact with other people. You did interact with other cities, villages, towns, etc. You wanted to go, be a part of things. You wanted to leave, but it's almost like you weren't allowed to. Something kept you there. And you did not fully appreciate, as a young man then, you didn't fully appreciate the beauty of the life you had. So this time around, you're kind of obsessed with things like that. You're kind of obsessed with connecting to the past. You're obsessed with, I don't want to say tribal things, but that's kind of how they are. You're obsessed with balance. You're obsessed with, there's so much spirals and circles here. Like, you're obsessed with the journey into yourself. So the life you're in right now keeps pausing you. Pause. Every time you try to shove forward, you pause. It's crazy. You're having to learn boundaries so hardcore. So I see some of you guys asking about signing up for a reading. My list is closed for the day because I'm only doing a few. My list filled up really quickly. I will do some more of these. I will totally do some more of these. They are very taxing on me. These are actually worse than mediumship reads, because it's like cramming a whole lifetime into here and me picking out things. Like, I could probably sit and talk about each one of these for an hour or two, or longer. But in this one, love, you're really stubborn. You're really stubborn. And you're really stubborn in this life too. Like, that is still the same. It's still affecting you. You're still super stubborn. But I will say your stubbornness here caused you to miss a lot, because you could have done a lot of things with your life as far as your family and where you lived go. But you chose not to. You chose to step back, and it's almost like pouting in a way. So this time in this life, you're having to relearn and accomplish these things. That's why you're so obsessed with rocketing forward. And every time you try to rocket forward, the universe goes, nope, no. So enjoy the pause. Enjoy the times when the universe pulls you back a little bit. I know that sounds weird, but enjoy that pause. Enjoy it, because it's helping you to set healthy boundaries with the universe, with yourself, with the people around you, with all of those things. So enjoy these pauses, even though it's like not just a hey, hang on. It is a hardcore like hit the brick wall kind of pause. Enjoy the pauses because they're training you for something down the road. In this life, they're training you for something else. And know that you will find this, not only this balance, but this journey. And once you get past all of these hard stops, it's going to be this nice, smooth road. So, yeah, it's going to be this nice, smooth road. I'm glad that all of that made sense to you, sweetheart. And I didn't realize I was reading for you, Miss Coco. I love it. It makes me happy. I will say in that life, you decided to be alone. You decided to be alone. And I don't think you lived past about 40, between 36, 38, really. So, yeah. Nothing bad, nothing violent, just a sickness. So, you're welcome, Miss Coco, my friend. And half my deck's upside down again. You know what? It is what it is, right? It is what it is. All right, Miss Heather, you ready? This is for Heather Flores. So after Heather, I have Ruby, Rachel, Amanda Ratliff, Catherine Mizell, Christina Scott, Elizabeth Robinson, and Laura Ray. And then if you guys missed me this time, I will do some more, trust me. But like I said, these ones they're kind of draining. So. Ooh, okay, Heather. Okay. Shit. Too many. That's funny. I picked those cards up to put them back in here, and the top card was movement. All right, Miss Heather. So in this one, you were born a woman. You're born here in the U.S., I would say probably upstate New York, but there's a lot of city things here, a lot of into the city. So this is right around the turn of the century, 1900. Thank you, Cosmozzy. You have a beautiful day too. Right around the turn of the century when you were born. Girl, you were a looker. Thank you. I love looking up. See that? This is Heather Flores. Girl, you were a looker. This is partially why you moved down into New York. You had things handed to you. I also get that you came from a wealthy family, so you already kind of had your own money. You did a lot of the things you wanted to do. Thank you, Alexis, honey. What I love about this life is that you used your position, you used your money, you used those things to help other people. I mean, you really were a philanthropist. You really were. You were a wild philanthropist, but you were definitely someone I would have loved to befriend back then. I would have loved to have known you. And I feel like this is still in your soul. It's your soul's purpose is to help other people and to enjoy the shit out of life while you do it. In this life here, this past life that we're talking about, you had an amazing amount of confidence, an immaculate amount of confidence. And I think that there are times in this life now that you're in, for the most part, you have that. But there are times it slips for some reason. There are times it slips. And you don't have enough confidence in some aspects of your life now that you did then. You could make things happen back then. You could say the words, even if nobody was around. You could say the words and manifest the things. You have that now. I just don't think you give yourself enough credit. But you have that now. You have that manifestation power now. You are super, super grounded. You were super grounded then. The thing about this past life here is that I don't understand the lungs aspect, but it's almost like it doesn't quite have an asthma feel, but it's almost like I can't take a deep breath. Almost, it's not drowning, but it is. Like it's not, so I don't know if this is tuberculosis or what, but there's something specific in here that happens because it's like I want to cough and I can't. I have a feeling it was tuberculosis. I'm trying to pull a name for you because this woman is utterly fantastic. You were just an utterly fantastic soul. Like you were the woman that showed up to all of the parties in a humongous fur coat and a huge hat. And I mean, you also have a white greyhound or a dog that looks like a greyhound, a very slender, long-nosed dog, and he's white. And he has a dude's name. He has a dude's name. It's really cute. You never get married in this life. You never get married in this life. And I will let you know that you pass away before we get involved with World War II. But you're also an extremely, extremely creative soul. You're happy when you're doing something crazy creative, not just creative, but like out there. And when you tell people, they're like, okay, until they see it in fruition and they're like, oh my God, that's the coolest thing ever. And you're like, yeah, I told you. Dude, you were a cool bitch. I'm just saying. You were a cool ass chick. Yeah, it could have been a whippet or what, I don't know. It was a very expensive dog. And like I said, he had a dude's name. It started with an H, Hank or something like that. He was your man. Like that's what you would tell everybody. And when you passed away, your sister took him and he was well taken care of until he passed away. Like he was revered in her house too. You were the older sister. She's the younger sister, but yeah, she took care of him. So hopefully that helps your soul a little bit, but yeah, she took care of him. Amazing care of him. So the part of this that affects you the most right now, it keeps coming around to this health issue. So be paying attention to your health. Don't be ignoring things, but B is this creative aspect. So let people think you're weird. Let people think you're weird, girl. Who cares? Let people think you're weird. Do the thing. Do all the things. Because I feel like right now you're kind of free floating. And just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Oh, really? No, it wouldn't have been a wolfhound because he has a very, very slender nose. I mean, he literally looks like a greyhound or a whippet. Like he's very, very lanky, very tall, very thin, the nose. Like he would bump you with his nose. Very, very smart dog. Wolfhounds are, I love me some wolfhounds. All right, Miss Ruby, you ready? You know what? I'm going to quit worrying about which way my deck is. And I'm just going to drop cards. Because that's how I roll today. I love wolfhounds. I really, really do. My aunt had one growing up, and when at first he scared the shit out of me because he was humongous. But I would love to have one. I don't know though. After I lose my Zeuses, I don't know. I kind of want a Zolo. So for those of you guys who don't know what Zolos are, I can't pronounce the full name. I've tried. I've had people pronounce it for me, but they are Mexican hairless. But I want a full size, not a mini. So yeah. So I've got Ruby, Rachel, Amanda, Catherine, Christina, Elizabeth, and Laura. That's too many. I love greyhounds. They're beautiful. They're so beautiful. I just love dogs. I love animals in general. I really do. I just do. I'm that chick. I love animals. But yeah, I love me some doggies. So so name, when you said that, when I read that, I immediately saw you again. So because there are pictures of you. There are pictures of you in New York in the 30s. So I want to describe this to you because I can literally see you. I just have no name. Okay. So in this picture, like my hair is standing up on my arm. In this picture, you have this big black hat and it's cocked like this, big wide brimmed black hat. Okay. And it's, I mean, literally like this, almost down across your eye. You have this beautiful, you have one of those heart-shaped face, but not a pointed chin. Does that make sense? Like it comes down like this, but you have this beautiful heart-shaped face and these big, humongous dark eyes. And this is a black and white picture the way I'm seeing it, but you have on either a dark blue, black, maroon dress, and it buttons up the front. It has a collar about here. I'm going to say it's a little risque, but has a collar about there. And you have this humongous white fur coat on. And I mean like thick white fur coat. And the picture itself, there are trees behind you and there's no leaves on them. So I assume that it's winter or fall. There's no leaves on them. I don't know if this is Central Park or if this is somewhere close to it, but there are trees behind you here and your dog is sitting right here on your right side. And I would say he's either a light brown or a gray because in the picture he looks gray, but it's a black and white picture. But that is you. And you're wearing these beautiful, their heels about this big and the heel itself is kind of square. And they have like a buckle or something on them like this, a buckle or a bow. I don't know. But you're fucking fantastic. And if I'd have seen you in the park back then, I'm like, we're friends. So there you go. That picture is out there somewhere. And I have a feeling it was taken for a newspaper or a media event, something like that, because it was you posed specifically in this spot for this photo. So there you go. All right. So Miss Ruby. All right, Miss Ruby. So what's funny? What's funny is this life is affecting you now. Yep, that's you, Miss Wayward Redhead there. That was you I was describing. What's funny about this, Miss Ruby, is I wouldn't want to make your soul mad because this life here, you kind of was a vengeful, you was a vengeful lady. Um, you really do kind of have a dark side to that soul. And this one affects you now in that you're drawn toward not so much like super dark shit magic wise, but you're drawn toward hoodoo and conjure and things like that for a reason, because you were a practitioner in your previous life and it bleeds over now. Like you have things that are coming in all the time that you're like, I didn't grow up like this, I don't know what all this is, but yet here it is, and you feel comfortable with it and connected to it because the life right before this one, you were fully in it. You were fully in it. So in this one, you were born a woman. I would say down in Louisiana, not New Orleans area, a little bit up and east. There's a little, okay, it almost like glows in the dark. There's a little town. So if you were to come up the coast from New Orleans like this, it's almost on the border, but not quite. But it's definitely all the way Creole. All the way Creole. You spoke a mix of all of it. So let me pause for just a minute, because I will say, guys, I've done this for a very long time. If I can pull any information, especially if it's something that I'm like, there's a photo, there's this, anything that will give you a record, I'll give it to you. I've had people find themselves. I've had people find their grave sites. I've had people find all of these things. Yeah. So I will give you anything I can to help you find you. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, back to Ruby here. I'm going to tell you in this one, you were born African American and you were a large woman. And girl, I kind of wish I could have gone and ate at your house, because as soon as I start seeing you in your home, you're humming and you're cooking. And you have this song. And you sing it over and over. That right there. Over and over. I don't know what that is. Over and over. You just hum it. But you're cooking and like the whole house smells like gumbo and cinnamon and bread, and it's just utterly glorious. It's just glorious. You have a massive family. Like you grew up in a massive family. You get married, you have a ton, like you just love family. You have a very strong family line and family roots here. And what's funny is I can't see the exact date you were born. So I don't know if it was written down or recorded at all, but I can tell you that you died about 1964, 65. You have this amazingly beautiful round face and this fucking smile that just makes it, you know, those ladies that when they smile, their whole face just shines, and you have this amazing fucking laugh. Your magic was mainly rooted in cooking, in food, in herbs, in things like that. But I'm going to let you know that your family lineage here was a little scary. I'm not going to lie. Like, y'all could do some shit. That's why you're super connected with it. Does that make sense? Not only are you super connected with it, but if somebody threatened your family, if somebody threatened you, if somebody threatened your kids, dude, you could do some scary shit and people would come to you for said scary shit. This is why you're drawn to it. And why you're comfortable in it, even though you're like, I was not raised that way. But what's interesting about this, when you passed away in this life, it's like you instantly jumped back into line because you felt cheated. Whatever happened with your death, because I can't really see it either, you felt cheated. And I would say you were probably in your late 50s, early 60s. You felt cheated. So you literally like jumped right back in. Like, oh, hell no. So one thing I do want to say that's affecting you right now is whatever this health issue is that's popping up, where it's like you kind of feel like something's wrong, but you don't want to say anything because you feel like you don't have enough evidence for it to be wrong. Does that make sense? It's like you're noticing little things that keep popping up and you're like, okay, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. Thank you, Miss Mandy. Whatever that is, love, pay attention to that because it is important. It is important. When you feel in your gut that these things are symptoms, that they're signs, they are. Okay? They are. You're not crazy. You need to be recording these things, writing them down because they're important. Okay? So that's the main overview of this, is that they're important. They're important. Don't let anybody tell you that it's all in your head. Does that make sense? Because the circle sideways tells me that it's a reoccurring theme this life. So yeah. So that's why you're drawn to those things. That's why you're drawn to those things. Alrighty. Yes, they do, unfortunately, and I hate that. I got misdiagnosed I do have chronic migraines. That's not it, but I had epilepsy for almost 20 years, and it was misdiagnosed as just severe chronic migraines. They couldn't even explain some of them. And then when I was finally diagnosed with epilepsy, it was because I had 3 huge seizures in a row, and they found out, oh, you have damage to your brain now because you've been having seizures for so long, because no one would listen to me when I said these are not headaches, they're not migraines. I know the symptoms of my migraines. These are not migraines, and no one would listen to me until I end up in the hospital. So it's dumb. It's absolutely dumb. All right, Miss Rachel Smith, ready? You're welcome, Miss Ruby. And I wish I could give you a name. I wish I could give you something more than that. Like, I can see you clearly in my head. And the song, it's okay. It is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. Because as my brain shifts and changes, my gifts get stronger. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it's dumb and it's very isolating, but it's what it is. I love what I do. So. All righty. Exactly. Not damage, rerouting, rerouting synapses. So one of the things that they found with my last MRI, I'm supposed to have one every couple of years because aneurysms run in my family and things like that. And one thing that they found, for those of you guys that either have epilepsy or have someone in your life that has epilepsy, uncontrolled epilepsy does cause issues with the brain. So the left side of my brain is actually smaller now and asymmetrical according to my right side. Like I'm obviously exaggerating here to show you, but I'm losing my word bank and I'm losing all of my long-term memories. So it is what it is. But here I am. Y'all stuck with me. All right, Miss Rachel. So this is one of those times I wish I was more familiar with some of the native tribes in the southwestern parts of the U.S. because this life here has so much imagery of both Native American practices and tribes as well as the desert itself, and it's absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna say Arizona, mid Arizona. This is back in the early 1800s. Well, I say early, 1820, 1823 is when you were born. And the reason that this one is affecting you so hardcore right now, I'm curious, do you have dyslexia? Or do you, what is it? Your word switch. Because as I'm like, that affected you in this life and affects you now randomly. It affects you now randomly. It's like as you're talking, suddenly your words go, what? It's weird. It's weird. Anyway, when you were born, here, you were born into a position, and I'm gonna say it that way. Okay. You had that in this life too. You had that in this life too. Girl, you're super connected. So, okay. You in the life of this past life here, you were born into a position. You have some interesting mark that signifies you in this position. You are absolutely an earth keeper. Like you are someone who heals the earth. You never quite lived in this realm, but you never quite lived outside of this realm. Like you kind of wandered your own path here. And this is one thing that I hate in a way about Western medicine now is that we tend to dismiss so many gifts. It's not even funny. In this life, they didn't dismiss those. They honed them and they made sure that you were trained and you knew the things to do. Like you knew every single herb, plant, tree, stone, everything around your area. And while you did a lot of healing work, you mainly did healing work with the land and the animals around you. You really love your alone time still. You really love your alone time still. You would take off for hours and sometimes a day or two by yourself. Not go far, but just way to connect with the land. Like you went on a lot of journeys, a lot of spiritual journeys in this life, and you would come back with messages. This affects you now because you don't live in the normal realm now. You don't live in the normal realm now. And I think that you're having a problem embracing it because you can't just go. Your soul wants to just go, just like you did here. You just want to walk off for a few days and then come back. You're like, you're always going to come back, but you just want to walk off for a few days. It affects you crazily in this life because you kind of live in the void still. Your soul needs to do that now. But it's hard for you in this life and it's hard for you to have that versatility. So you're having to really fight against it. And I don't know how to help you embrace it just because of the way life is now. But I would absolutely advise trying to get away, have alone time as much as you can to fulfill this part of your soul because it's still affecting you now. And I don't know where you live in the US, but if you make it down to that area, I have a feeling that you'll feel comfortable there. And this is not a super flat area where you lived either. There are some canyons, plateaus, etc. So yeah, I'm really curious where you live in the US because I have a feeling it's important because what I see, one of your favorite places, it's funny. It's almost like this weird canyon that's shaped kind of like this. And you go down into it from here and it's not very deep. Like I'm going to say it wrong, an arroyo. But it's where you probably can barely see the top of your head when you are walking through it. But it's literally just this little point like this. Um, but up in here, I think there's a cave system in there. There's a cave system in there because I see a dark, almost like a tunnel, an entrance right there, and you literally would. That was like your safe place. Like you would go and just stay there. It was kind of like your second home. Does that make sense? It was like a second home. You would just stay there. I love that you live in that area of Texas. But love, you're still an earth keeper. You're still an earth keeper. So enjoy your alone time. Enjoy getting away and make sure that you take the time to get away and connect with the earth. That's what's going to help you. It'll help you in your spiritual practice in this life. It'll help you on your path in this life. Oh, thank you, Grateful One. I appreciate that so much. So Grateful One on YouTube just said, happy Saturday. I had an incredible experience with your Reiki on Thursday. Thank you. You are so welcome. So welcome. I haven't been looking at Facebook here, and I'm so sorry. Let me pull up comments here. Hey, guys, how are we? All righty. Let me get back to my list here. Miss Catherine Mazel. I couldn't pinpoint where it is. All I see is that triangle or point, I guess. Does that make sense? All right. Miss Catherine Mazel. So if you guys want to pre-register for any of my lives, no matter what platform you're watching me on right now, part of my stuff today is to go through and get everything scheduled and so on, so you guys can get tickets and join me. But on my website, thebluebodhi.com, under events, you guys can get tickets for my lives. You can get tickets to see me in person whenever I'm traveling, whether it's at one of my shamanic mediumship events or whether it's at a convention I'm at, etc. If you're on TikTok, it's on my link tree there. Oh yes, that would be awesome. That would be awesome, Rachel. That would be awesome. You're welcome. So I just saw that I skipped Miss Amanda. So I pulled cards for Catherine. So let me read Catherine and then I'll get Miss Amanda, because I just realized that I went Rachel and then Catherine and Miss Amanda. Apparently, I don't know why I went like that, but my brain did. So I apologize. But let me do Miss Catherine and then I will do Miss Amanda, okay? Everything happens for a reason, right? So, Miss Catherine, in this one, not only were you born, so you were born a man here. There's so much Greek imagery here. Warrior imagery, as in training from the time you were really, really young with brothers, with your father, with a ton of other males around you. Living a life that was continually fighting, continually fighting, continual battle. It's nonstop. And I'm trying to pinpoint a date. I'm trying to pinpoint anything because I would say this is back probably the third or fourth, probably the third century AD. It's pretty far back because you in this life you come from a line of military people. Like, it's just how your family is. And there's 3 of you boys, and you are the youngest. And all of you are trained this way. All of you. I had to pull myself out of it for a minute. All of you are trained this way. You saw horrendous things. You saw horrendous things in this life. And I have a feeling that you have some very weird, vivid, interesting dreams in the life you're in now because of it. And some of them you can't explain. Just because I've read for you personally and I kind of know you a little bit, there's a reason that this life is affecting you so hardcore now. It's because you've had to go through so many things where you've had to have that warrior mentality, that tough as nails, I will make it through anything mentality. But now you're searching for something. You're on your own type of vision quest. So in this life that I'm talking about here, that's affecting you, all of these battles you went through, all of this war you went through, you saw some horrendous things and you saw some absolutely amazing, breathtaking things that you couldn't understand, you couldn't explain. People being miraculously healed, people being pulled from the battlefield, people like things that should have killed somebody or you or whatever that did not, they didn't even touch you. So you've seen those things and it's like you can kind of remember now. So yeah. Sorry, I was looking at something real quick here. You can kind of remember that. So you have this need to see those things again. You have this deep, deep curiosity right now to see those things again, to experience them again. And I have a feeling that's why you have the children you have. It's also why you've had things happen in this life that have been happening to you, especially here lately. There's something specific with this imagery I'm seeing. And I don't know how to explain it because I don't know the terms for it. I'm going to say this is probably somewhere in Greece, in the Greek Empire. It has to be because of the things I'm seeing, the imagery, the way that the statues are, the faces. I'm a huge Greek and Roman nerd, and so I understand the differences. You know what I mean? This is all Greek. There is something specific with a grove of trees. And the trees themselves, the bark is almost black. And it's almost a ring. And you've been there repeatedly. And it's a very, very sacred place. And I have a feeling you probably see this place in a dream. Because it's a very sacred place. Whatever that place is where you've had a lot of interesting things happen to you. You've had a lot of interesting things happen to you. So, I just want you to know that. Whatever this is, it's really, really hardcore affecting you, needing to see that. So I would highly advise delving down the rabbit hole with that. Yeah. Okay. So I just now noticed that there is somebody on my Facebook who is promoting readings and trying to promote themselves on my own Facebook. Love, that is absolutely a no-no. You don't do that. In no way do you do that to another reader. Yeah. Not only do I have your name in your profile now, but I will make sure I take care of that. Yeah, guys. There's a few of you. Okay, I got y'all. So sorry I'm having to pause here, but I'm pulling up all of these people on my Facebook who are trying to. Got you. I got you. I got you both. I got you both. Like I said, I got you both. All right, Miss Amanda Ratcliffe, you ready? Yeah. If I catch you doing it on mine or in any other reader's live, that is so slimy and so shitty. I don't have time for that, and I take that very personally because I've been doing this a long time professionally. I don't tolerate it from me or from anybody else. Woo, girl. Because I pay attention when I'm in other people's lives too. And if I catch people doing it in other people's lives, oh yes, I will absolutely do what needs to be done. You don't do that. You don't do that. All right. Miss Amanda, are you ready? So my mods on TikTok, they always screenshot those people for me and send them to me later. So just know if you guys ever get on a TikTok and you see people doing that, you can totally report their account. You can do all those things because that's a no-no, man. That's a no-no. So yeah. Oh yeah. So, yeah, so I saw Sasshole send a message, came across the top of my phone here, like who the fuck is doing that on Facebook? So I got on my Facebook there and I pulled up those two people's accounts and I will take care of it shortly. Yes. Somebody said today is not the day and she is not the one. That's exactly right. Today is never the day and I am never the one. So yeah. Y'all have no idea. I've been doing this a very long time. And to top it off, I'm a very scary person, both metaphysically and not. I was an MP. I did and do have all of the training. I had my PI license for a long time, guys. I'm a little scary on the computer. Just saying what I'm saying. Okay. Just saying what I'm saying. All right, Amanda. Ready? All right, Miss Amanda. So this one has some very, very interesting imagery. So what I see is so different. You were one of just a group of hired soldiers that went from Spain down to into the Gulf of Mexico, down around where the Panama, where Panama is, and into Brazil and things like that. Um, in fact, hired soldier is probably not the right word, because I get the feeling that you kind of had to. So I don't know if this is like an indentured thing, I don't know what this is, because in no way did you want to go. You enjoyed it once you got there because of being somewhere new, but in no way did you want to go. You did not like being on that ship. You did not like being on that ship, like super sick the whole time. And you're only like 19. You're only like 19 or so when you start this journey. So here's what's interesting. When you get where you're going, when you land, you're one of the first people on shore. You're on one of the first small rafts that go to shore, the boats that go to shore. And it's like you guys are instantly attacked when you get on shore. Here's why I said I don't think that you went willingly on this, because when you guys are attacked and everybody scatters a little bit, you take that opportunity to dive in the water and swim the fuck away. It's awesome. Like, you swim north. You're in this kind of it's not a cove because it's huge, but up here to the north of where you are is this huge black cliff looking mountain, and you literally just take off swimming. You take off swimming. It's fucking awesome. You're just like, bye. And they literally think that you're dead. They think that you're dead. They don't even look for you. You faked your own death. Girl, you faked your own death. You faked your own death. Like back in, I'm going to say the 900s, 10, maybe 1100s, somewhere in there. Like, I'm trying to pinpoint time, but I'm not familiar enough with Spanish armor to see. I think it's fucking fantastic. Like, I'm sitting here giggling because you are forced to go on this ship as kind of a hired mercenary, and you don't want to be there. You're sick the whole fucking time. And you guys pull up in this place that's fucking paradise. And when you go to shore, they start attacking you, and you're like, fuck this. And it's funny, while everybody else is fighting, because it's this small band of the natives that were there that come out to attack you guys. While they're fighting, you throw yourself back in the ocean and you just start swimming away, and nobody pays attention. Nobody pays attention, and it's fucking fantastic. You guys are on your own. Yep, you're out. Like, bye. You literally just swim as far as you can towards this outcropping. You swim as far as you can, and then when you feel like you can't swim anymore, you come up, you take a breath, you rest for a second, and you literally keep going. It's like you go back off the beach into the fort. You just keep going. You get all the way to this cliff, this mountain. It's weird. It juts like this. Not quite that far, but like that. Like it's this huge black mountain. Like, like you don't even look back. You don't even look back. Because at this point, you're kind of like, if they shoot you in the back, they shoot you in the back. Not shoot, but like bow and arrow type, not guns. You don't even give a fuck. Because if you die there, it's better to get back on the fucking boat. But I will say, you actually live a decent life. You actually live a decent life because you just keep kind of traveling up the ocean, up the beach, up the coastline. You know enough about surviving. You know enough about fishing. You know enough about what, like, you've managed to survive, but you actually run into a small tribe that's up there. And they have not had any dealings with the conquistadors or anything, so they don't know. So they see your skin, they see you, they're like, what the fuck? And they kind of revere you a little bit. And at this point, you are kind of, you know, not sick, but sick. Does that make sense? Kind of malnourished because you don't know the plants you can eat and stuff. So you're living off of just fish and so on. They literally take you in and you become a part of them. And you end up living an amazing, wonderful fucking life with them. And you don't ever tell them where you came from. You just tell them you came from the ocean. You're ornery. That's fucking funny. But here's the thing. Here's what this is why this is affecting you now. Because you had to have an amazing amount of strength and bravery and perseverance to make that journey, because there were times on that journey you wanted to throw yourself off the ship and just drown. Like that journey was so horrible because of the people that were on the boat, how bad they treated your group, because I get the feeling there were probably like 12 or 13 of you, how bad you guys were treated. And how long that boat ride was and how sick you were. You really went through this humongous depression because y'all had no idea if you were actually going to find something or not. You literally thought about throwing yourself off the boat repeatedly. And I have a feeling that you have those feelings now sometimes, like, this is dumb. I just want to be done. Now, I'm not saying that you want to do it, okay? I'm just saying you have that feeling. You still feel that a little bit sometimes. But what affects you now, that strength and stuff that you had then to go forward to actually survive, you have that inner strength now. And I think that you needed to hear that, because there is something specific with you right now. You need to kind of disconnect from the things going on around you. I'm not saying swim off. I'm not saying fake your own death. But what I'm saying is you need to disconnect a little bit and pull on that reserve, pull on that strength to finish going through. It's like you're walking through this super dark, intense jungle right now. You're coming out the other side, but you're like worn down. And I absolutely understand that. I think we all understand that. The last few years have been hard for everybody, and we're all about done. Like, we're just ready to swim up the coast and be done. Like, go somewhere else. But I will say, love, you have an amazing reserve of strength in there, and perseverance and adaptability. Don't ever negate that. Don't ever negate that. And take yourself a trip to the ocean, to the Gulf. Just saying, take yourself a trip to the Gulf. There's something about the water there that is healing to you. It's a fresh start to you. And if you can't take yourself a trip to the Gulf, I would say absolutely nerd on Google Earth and look at some of the beautiful areas, some of the beautiful pictures that people have taken, and let that be a disconnect. Like, nerd down that rabbit hole for a while. You know what I mean? there's something there that draws you. There's something there that draws you. So if you can't get away, totally give yourself, take a staycation and just nerd down those pictures. I have a feeling you're going to find something there that helps you with the shit you're dealing with right now. So there. So there. All righty. Miss Christina Scott, are you ready? Miss Kathy, I did yours just a second ago, so I don't know if you caught it or not, but if you missed it, it's on YouTube. You're welcome, Miss Mandy. So I have Christina, Elizabeth, and then Laura, and then, I'm going to drop Christina's cards everywhere. And then I'm going to go work some more. So if you guys missed my auction last night and my sale last night, I will be doing it probably once a month. As you all know, I travel all over the U.S. I do all kinds of weird shit, gather weird shit, buy weird shit, and I have too much shit. I do also have an auction going on online. The link is on my link tree. If you guys are on YouTube, you have my link tree up there as well. And I will put it on Facebook. So if you guys would like to get in on that auction, it only goes till 6 o'clock this evening. So you still have a little bit of time. There's a lot of jewelry and stones from my personal collection in there. Weird, unique pieces that are just no longer mine. I've learned to let things go when they're no longer mine. All right, Miss Christina. Okay. So in this one here, you thank you, Miss Sasso, for the corgi butt. You're born a man. You're born in a very interesting time. I would put this probably about the second or third century. It's pretty far back there. It's pretty far back there. What's funny is I'm going to say that you probably had a very traumatic childhood because I don't see a lot of your childhood. There really is not one. It's like I see you as a baby. And I see you being carried, mom-wise, carried here and there. And then I literally see you when you're about 27, 28. Like, it's just black. It's just blocked out. So, with that being said, when I see things like that, that usually tells me that's a lot of trauma that your soul has basically been like, nope, blocking it out. But when I see you when you're like 27, 28, you look old. You've been through some shit and some stuff. But at the same time, you have learned to survive and you are so resourceful. You actually have kind of a small following. You have a small group of people that follow you, that are with you, almost like a little nomadic tribe in a way. And I would say this is Turkey. What's Turkey now? What is beautiful about that and about this shift from all of this trauma and so on to where you are when you're about to turn 30? You were put into a role that you never expected to be in. And I have a feeling that mirrors some things in your life now, that you're put into roles and put into things that you never expected to be doing. Your soul is very interesting in that Every life you have a lot of things that are fated to happen. They have to happen for your soul to move forward. So you feel stuck a lot. You feel stuck a lot. And you have this inner frustration that even when things are going perfectly, you still just have this frustration that you're stuck. You still just have this fuck. Even when you think that you've crossed everything off your list, it's like you still feel all the other things fixing to come down the list. Like, I feel this frustration so hardcore. So what's affecting you right now really hardcore on top of that frustration is and I'm going to say this about the only way I can think of to say it. And it's going to sound bad, so don't take it bad, okay? It's almost like you have this way of making your heart very hard that people think that you're really cold sometimes. You're either super warm and on and fuzzy or ice. Like, there's no in between. And when you hit this ice phase, you have to, it's like you can feel it coming and you kind of have to pull yourself away and disconnect. Because if you don't, it's almost like you're a separate person. It's crazy. Your soul just gets so damn frustrated with, why do I have to do all the things? Like, this is not fair. I don't want to do the things anymore. And so it's not pouting or anything. It's just you have to disconnect, because all the things that you're fated to do in each life are so, they're just hard. They're just hard. And so you have to have that hard aspect of yourself as well. So the reason that I've said that, the reason that I am going through some of these things, I don't know what my computer just did. Okay. The reason that you're going through some of the things you're going through, as far as that hardness, that ice, is, I've done enough of the things. Yeah. Is that it's okay for you to have that other side of yourself, that disconnect, that coldness. Your soul has to have that balance. That is your way of counterbalancing the other things out. That part of you is smaller, but it's heavy. And so it takes a while for this to do this. And then when you're finally like, nope, you balance it. But I guess here lately, you've been almost too much. You've been counterbalancing it to where instead of having the warm here and the ice here, where it's usually like this, it's kind of like this right now. For some reason, there's been a hard shift and it's really affecting you right now. So everything happens for a reason. It had to have that hard shift right now for some reason. Probably because you're fixing to go through a lot of the other things that you have to accomplish in this life. So just know it will even back out. So whatever this is that's got you feeling like this is the majority right now, it will even back out. I promise. It will even back out. So I love you. I just want you to know. I just want you to know. But that's affecting you really hardcore right now. What's funny is I don't see a lot of the end part of your life. That childhood is just blanked out, gone. I will say that you do have people in each life that guide you, that you guide, that you find in almost every single life. And you haven't found the majority of them in this life. So you feel alone because they haven't appeared yet. You'll find them. You'll find them. So I know it sucks and you kind of feel alone right now, but you'll find them, I promise. Okay. So I have Elizabeth, Laura, Alexis, and Melissa. I had to refresh because I was like, I know I saw Alexis on there too. And then it was only saying Laura. And I was like, what the hell? So yeah, I had to refresh again. So there you go, guys. All right, Miss Elizabeth. There you are. Hey, good job. Yay. Yeah, everything happens for a reason, and it is what it is, are two of the things that I used to hate it when people would say that to me, and now I am the person that says it to everyone. But when you really accept that and you realize that everything does happen for a reason, and you can go back and connect the strings and the dots and everything, and you start to see that, it's really crazy. It's really crazy. Let's see here. All right. I was just checking my Facebook again. Sass is on it. Thank you, Sass. All righty. Miss Elizabeth Robinson, are you ready? So, Miss Elizabeth, let me just say right now, I know that it's hard to do the right thing, especially when it's not the easiest thing or it's the thing that causes damage to you. I know that it's hard to do the right thing, but that is who your soul is. It's who your soul has always been. And it is what you're supposed to be doing. I know that you know that, and I know that you feel that in your gut really hardcore, but yeah. This life here was mid 1500s, smack dab in the middle of Europe. I would say probably Eastern France. And here you were born a man as well, and you were born to a decently wealthy family. Not, super king type wealthy, but a decently wealthy family. You had a little bit of clout, you had a little bit of land, you had the money, you had the things, and you were a very, very decent looking dude. You're also the second born son here. So even though the firstborn takes over, the secondborn kind of takes some stuff, but pretty much if you're not the firstborn, then everything, it's like you are what you are. But with you, your dad's not quite the greatest person, and so your older brother, is not quite the greatest person either. You actually have more respect with the people around you and the people in the town around you than they do. You guys own a lot of land. And you kind of self-exile yourself because there is something I'm trying to pinpoint a little bit. There is something with your dad and your brother. They make some decisions and you question them in front of people as your brother is learning to take over. And it's something that really fucks over the people in the town around you. And you question them in a public forum. And it does not sit well with them. It sits fantastic with the people. It does not sit well with your father and your brother. And you pretty much know you have to get the fuck out of Dodge. And your mother knows it too. So you end up you pretty much leave that day, you gather some things and you leave very quickly. What you spoke up against is something to do with food and rations and taxes, basically. And speaking up against that and you leaving, you go north. Your family has a house there. You stay overnight and then you leave again. Like you don't stay. Like you know damn well that whatever it is, like what you said was not something big, but it did question your father's authority in front of the town, in front of the town, the main people in the town, and it enraged your father. It also almost started a small riot, and it started people working against your father and your brother. Um, So you just head north and you keep heading north. After you get a little bit out where nobody kind of knows who you are, you start changing your name. Like you figure that that's going to have to be a thing. You start changing your name. You actually go up and you are going to catch a boat to England, and you decide at the last moment not to. And you end up turning toward the west and just kind of going. Um, Being that you are a trained sword, you kind of put yourself out for hire for a few things, but you end up in Spain on the coast. Um, you end up in Spain on the coast because as you're going down the coast and traveling with some people that you're hired to guard, etc., you come into this town, you go into the court with them and so on, and you have that kind of love at first sight moment with a beautiful lady there, and you decide to stay. And after you do, you kind of get to woo her a little bit, and you end up marrying this woman. Not only do you end up marrying this woman, but you end up making a name for yourself there. You kind of let her family know who you are, where you come from, because you weren't going to be able to woo her otherwise. But what's wonderful about it is you end up having an absolutely amazing life here. You end up having the right amount of power to fix things. You end up in a place where people are not like they were where you came from, and you're able to accomplish a lot with your soul, the things that you needed to accomplish in this life. It's affecting you right now because there's a lot of bullshit around you where things are just not right. And when they're not right, you want to step in and make them right, even if it's to your detriment. So you're going to have that. You're going to have that feeling a lot. Here's the thing. You cannot allow that to overwhelm you. You can't allow it to cause problems with you taking away from your own resources and your own needs to fix other people that can't be fixed. And I said can't for a reason, because we can't fix everyone. You can only help someone to the point that you can help them. If they don't want help, if they don't want to change, if they don't want to shift their perception or move along their path, you can't force them to. So that's what's affecting you right now, hardcore. You have the power, you have the abilities, you have all the things to fix a lot of stuff for people, but you can't always fix everything for everybody. You can only help them to the extent that they want help. And the problem is right now, this is affecting you hardcore. It's almost an Arthur complex because there's so much going on and it inflames you, and you just want to fix everything in the world. And if you let yourself fall down that rabbit hole too much, it gets too frustrating. So be really, really careful that you don't burn yourself out. You know what I mean? With energy wise, with that. It's a noble position to have, sweetheart, and you have a very good soul and you have a very, very good heart. Um, don't let people take advantage of that. Gotcha. Yeah, learning to move on when help is not wanted. That's hard for a lot of people that have that type of soul. You're a protector, you're a fixer. You want to make everybody better, and sometimes people don't want to be better. So, just know that you're an amazing person, sweetheart. Just know that you're an amazing person, and learn how to walk away when people don't want all of the help. Unfortunately, that's going to happen a lot. I've had to learn that the hard way too. Sometimes it is what it is. It's okay. All right, Miss Laura Ray, you ready? So I have Laura, Alexis, and Melissa. I love how supportive all you guys are with each other here. It makes me so happy. Doesn't matter if we have 1,000 people in here or we have 2. It makes me so happy. There we go. Oh, I see that the sunshine is halfway out outside. All righty. Miss Laura, here we go. So I have Laura, Alexis, and Melissa. Ooh, okay. Well, you're a super old soul, aren't you? So, Miss Laura Lou. Oh, I'm so glad, love. Miss Laura Lou. This one right here, I would say is probably one of your oldest lives here on Earth. And when I say that, this is in way back about the recorded time that time is recorded. Does that make sense? What's interesting about this is what affects you now from this life, and it's affected you in every single other life, is that you feel like you're living out of your time. You don't feel like you belong in the time you belong in. Somehow your rhythm has gotten jacked up, and it's like where you should be here, you either overshoot it or you do. I don't know. Does that make sense? You either overshoot or you undershoot, but you never hit right on the time. So you always feel like you're out of time. You always feel like you're out of time. Not only do you always feel like you're out of time, you feel like you don't understand people at all. Ever. It's like every time you think you might be wrapping your head around the humans around you, something else happens and you're like, I give up. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I give up. I feel your frustration. I'm just saying, I feel your frustration. It makes me kind of sick at my stomach because, and I feel that from you too, because when you're looking at people around you in this life now, you see some of the things that people do to each other and it just makes you want to vomit because you don't understand how people can be the way that they are to other people. This life here, like I said, is one of your very first ones here. And I would bet that you're very, very drawn to ancient I would bet that you're an ancient aliens nerd, and I would bet that you're very drawn to like the Sumerians, the Babylonians, etc. Um, because and here's the thing I'm going to recommend. I'm going to recommend you fall down that rabbit hole. I'm going to recommend you research and fall down that rabbit hole if you haven't already, because you have an amazing gift of sight that is with your soul in every single life. And I don't think you fully embraced it in this one. I think it's there and it keeps poking at you and poking at you and poking at you, but you don't know how to tap into it. So what I would recommend is falling down that rabbit hole of the ancient Sumerians and the Babylonians. They lived pretty close together, but you're going to find that there's going to be some symbols because they had a written language. There's going to be some sounds, some words, etc., that are going to hit you in the gut, and you're going to go, oh. You lived a very long life there, a very long life. And with it, you only had one child here. You had two. You had one that you lost when they were an infant, but you had one child that survived to adulthood, but never had children themselves. You had a girl. Okay. You kind of were a lot of things in that life. And I have a feeling that in this life, you wear a lot of hats too. But you were this amazing, powerful elder there. Like all of the cards here talk about being an elder, having that ancient wisdom, having all of these abilities to straddle both realms, to be here and to be somewhere else, to channel information, etc. And I have a feeling that you can do it in this life, but you haven't unlocked it completely yet. So that's why I'm telling you to fall down that rabbit hole. You're literally someone that can weave fate around you, especially when it comes to other people. You can help them see and weave where their path needs to go. Help them get to where they need to go. Help them move this or move that or whatever. So love, you as your spiritual advisor, I am professionally telling you to fall down the rabbit hole. Ancient Sumerians and the Babylonians, whether it's documentaries, whether it's articles, whether it's videos, whatever, books, anything, you're going to find that there are going to be some symbols, some written words, etc., that are going to hit you really hardcore. Yes. And once you do, be careful, because you're going to start unlocking things at a high rate as far as downloads and so on go. So be careful that you don't overload yourself, because when you guys start falling down a rabbit hole and you connect with something soul-wise that's affecting you now, it tends to shove you forward. So I'm just letting you know. It's funny because you have this amazing, like, loving, happy, fun, childlike feel right now in this life, but you have this undercurrent of this ancient soul. It's almost like this is your mask you put on, and every now and then this one comes out. So I have a feeling that really ancient soul comes out a lot in you. And I love that you're able to embrace your inner happy soul before that one comes out. So yeah. All right, Miss Alexis, you ready? Oh, that's too many. So I will be doing some more past lives. I don't know when yet. So I'm fixing to go through and plan out my schedule for the next month, guys. So I will be doing something tomorrow. Just so you know. Maybe. I really need to take a whole day off is what I need to do. So I may take a whole day off. I haven't decided yet. That's too many. But I will have everything out. If you guys make sure you follow me on TikTok, on my website, etc., I will have all of my lives up, my live schedule up. That is too many. Alexis? It's too many cards, girl. These ones are kind of draining, which is why I don't do a lot of them when I do them. Mediumship is super draining, but this is extremely draining. And I don't think people understand how draining this is. I love them. It's like a mini movie every time I'm seeing somebody's past lives. Okay. All right, Miss Alexis. So, here you go, love. I'm going to put this one somewhere in the very center of Mexico, probably around Mexico City, etc. This is back. I'm going to say in the mid 1700s, 1760s is when I would probably put you born. Early 1760s. Here you're born a man, but you're born to an offshoot of one of the tribes around there. I have a feeling that there's a lot of very interesting tribal things that pop up for you in this life that you're in now. Because the things that I'm seeing here, I would say there's a lot of Aztec symbols. A lot. I love you too, Casey. There's a lot of Aztec symbolisms here. And for some reason, the area that you live in, it's almost like there's something about the area you live in, the family you're born to, the tribe you're born to. And I don't know why I'm saying it that way, because I literally see you in a city, but it's some aspect of who you are that's super discriminated against. And you literally become a leader as far as a small revolution here. Before I go too much further, I'm going to say part of why this affects you so hardcore in the life you're in right now is because there are times you don't feel like you have a purpose. And there are times you feel like you have this crazy, crazy purpose and you just haven't found it yet. You feel the need to be at the forefront of a revolution to make a massive change, but you don't know how to do it or where to step into it or whatever. Does that make sense? Because you feel this life hardcore with what's going on in the world right now, but you don't know how to step forward and be that revolutionary that you were here. That being said, I know that you'll find it. I know that you'll find where you need to step into that revolutionary role. My advice is going to be careful, because if you allow this part of your soul to come out, you're going to throw yourself in almost too far, because you lost your life in this revolution here. You lost your life for a good cause, for a reason. So it's not quite a sacrifice, but it was. Does that make sense? with you losing your life here as well as some other people, it did cause change. It did shift. It did do what you wanted to accomplish. But you're looking for that now in this life. So be careful what you choose to be a revolutionary on, okay? Just be careful, because there are so many things today in the world that you could be a revolutionary with. And there are so many polarizing things that you could be a revolutionary with that could absolutely trounce all of the things around you. At the same time, I know you're going to find that thing, that revolutionary aspect of yourself. And I know that you're going to put your passion and drive in this part of your soul into that and change something massive with the world. So don't stop looking for that. Just the mom part of me wants to tell you to be careful. Careful, because I don't want to lose you. Just saying. Unfortunately, there are people that they want things the way that they are. So, Miss Alexis, what I'm curious about here, I have a feeling that throughout this life, you have probably thrown yourself into causes hardcore and then shifted and thrown yourself here and shifted and thrown yourself here. And I don't mean like a different side of the same cause. I mean this cause and that cause and this cause and that cause. You have a lot of things that you feel super strongly about. It's not just, well, I kind of feel this way, or I kind of feel that way, or I kind of feel this way, or whatever. You feel super strongly about everything. You don't really have a middle ground. You have a solid, you have a strong, rock solid opinion about everything. And I think that's commendable, because I think a lot of people right now, they'll have this opinion and then they allow it to change and they allow it to shift and they allow it to move and they allow other people to influence them. And I love that you will, if somebody can present something to you logically, but you're not going to just willy-nilly change your mind on something. And people are going to call you stubborn, and it kind of is, but I think that's commendable. And that's what's affecting you hardcore in this life right now. You have to find your revolution. You have to find your cause. So I'm just letting you know. All right, Miss Melissa, you ready? Thank you guys for all the follows and all the gifts. I appreciate it. And I will be putting my schedule up on Facebook and YouTube and all that stuff, as much as I can on YouTube, I guess I should say. So that way you guys will know. Anytime I go live on TikTok, though, I will be going live at least on YouTube, if not on Facebook as well, because I want you guys to be able to see your readings if you miss them. And if you guys don't follow me on YouTube or Facebook or any of the other things, make sure you do, because you never know when TikTok's going to be TikTok. Just saying what I'm saying. All right. You have cards all whopper jawed all over the place. Woo! Was that second yawn, first or second yawn? All right. Ready, Miss Melissa? All right. So this one here, always playing with clay when I'm doing readings. You guys have no idea. I try not to do it as much, but I always do. It helps. This one here, I would say, is probably a couple of lives before the one you're in now, because I would put this back in the very early 1800s, like you being born in the early 1820s, mid 1820s. And in this one, you were born a woman, and love, you had a very, very hard life here. You had a very hard life here, where you had family that literally wanted to go west. They wanted to go west. And you were 18, 19 when your family wanted to move. You had no way to really stay on your own. I would say that you guys are leaving from the West Virginia area and heading west. A whole humongous group of you guys. In heading west, of course, you saw some fantastically beautiful things. You guys actually make it all the way to California. All the way. You make it all the way to California. You do lose a little brother along the way. You do lose a lot of other people around you that are traveling with you along the way. And you actually, with the group of you guys that leaves from there, you gather a couple of other, people as you go, or gain other people as you go. You meet the man that you're going to marry on the way there. Your second stop from home, second town you guys go through. There's another group that's leaving about the same time, and you guys all travel together. And one of the young men there is about a year older than you. And you two are kind of instantly smitten with each other. You get married along the way. You get married in the mountains somewhere. Just being how they look, I would say it's somewhere Colorado wise, like lower Colorado, because they're not super crazy high mountains, but they're pretty high. So if you guys have never been, I can't remember the mountains. You would think I would know this. I grew up there, but the Rockies, and then they come down to the other mountains that come down into New Mexico. That's where I'm talking about. That's where you guys go through when you get married. But you get married on this beautiful mountainside by your father. He marries you, basically. There's no preacher, so he just takes it on himself to do it. It's very hard. It's extremely hard on you guys going this far. There are several times that you guys kind of run out of food. There are several times that you run out of fresh water. There are several times that you get stuck in some very gnarly storm systems. You guys lose a lot of wagons. You lose a lot of animals. But you guys make it all the way to California. You make it all the way. What's really interesting about it is where you guys end up. Is kind of in between LA and San Francisco now. You never really got to be your authentic self in this life. You did and you didn't. Does that make sense? You did and you didn't. You did in that you got to get married. You got to have children. You got to be a mom. You got to be yourself with your kids. But when you were with your husband, when you were with your father, your family, whatever it is, it's almost like your kids were an extension of yourself, of you being you. But you put on this other facade for everybody else because that's what they expected you to do. That's what they expected you to do. You had to be this hardcore, super strong, nothing bothers me kind of woman. And you were, but at the same time, you had this other side that has to come out. Everybody has that. Nobody can be hardcore all the time, and nobody can be soft all the time. You have to have balance. So you did get to the point where you were withdrawing from people that you felt you had to be super hardcore with. You had to be this other person that you really were not. You got to where you were withdrawing from them. You didn't want to be around them as much. And it did cause problems in your marriage here. But you have 2 kids here. You do have a girl and a boy here. And I get that you probably lost a couple of others, like miscarriage wise or whatever. And they are your life. They are your life. And they are fantastic children because of the way that you are yourself with them, and you teach them to be themselves, and you teach them about you tell them about your journey. You tell them about how you guys came to be where you're at, and they end up growing up to found major areas there, to help build major cities, to help form the area, to help form all of that in there. In fact, they go on to become extremely wealthy. So what's funny is when I'm talking about your children and what they go on to do, your daughter's name is Elizabeth, and her last name, she gets married. Her last name it's like Backins, Bakin, Bakit, something like that. It could be wrong on some of the letters at the end, but it's Bak something. But anyway, that's her. I was trying to pull your son's name, but I can't. So apparently she is more important to your journey than he is. And I don't mean that in any disrespect. The reason this affects you right now so hardcore is because you feel like there's not a lot of times that you can be your authentic self now. And it's really weighing on your soul. You're starting to feel this weight that this woman had on her soul now. It's like it's transposing onto you now. And the more that these things make it pushed down where you can't be yourself, the harder you feel this and the harder you're going to start fighting it. So my advice to you is going to be not to allow that to get too hard, or it's going to explode out to where you can't control it, because this other part of you is really pushing you to be your authentic self now, because that's what the world needs, is you to be authentic now. Because at the end of this, you have the Weaver card, and that's someone that weaves their own fate. They can weave the world around them. You've got to embrace that. You've got to embrace that. Just saying. I'm just saying. And I come back to the name Elizabeth, so I would try to look her up. I can't pinpoint where. I would say more of whatever was around Los Angeles before. Does that make sense? To the south of Los Angeles. But it's Elizabeth, and like I said, it's Bak, but I can't get the other part. But it's pronounced very interesting. It's a foreign last name. Batkins, something like that. Backins. I don't know. Hopefully you can find it from there. But she's a very, very beautiful, tall, elegant, dark-headed woman. She does kind of have a stern face. She looks like your husband. She kind of has a stern face, but she did a lot. A lot. So I'm hoping you can find her. Because yeah, that was your daughter. And I think that in finding her, it will help give you some strength. See, now I want to fall down the rabbit hole, and I want to find Wayward Redhead, and I want to find your daughter, and I have shit to do. I can't. So, y'all find yourselves, y'all find your daughters, and then you let me know. So yeah. I will do more past lives, guys. I will. I absolutely promise. So I love doing them. They just they take a lot out of me. So let me stop the Facebook here, and then let me stop the YouTube here. I appreciate you guys joining me on both of those.